guys, so today we're going to work on tuning Gavin's car, and I got a couple of the wrong files because it's my fault. I put the wrong injector information on the tune sheet, so I thought it was said in the instructions they were GT500 injectors. He had upgraded to ID 1050Xs, which I thought that as I put it in, but I second guessed myself, and never second guess yourself. You're always right the first time. So let's go ahead and get this thing tuned so we can take it for a ride. Make sure whenever you're riding the computer that you use a jump pack or something, because if your battery dies mid-tune, you're gonna have a bad day. So as soon as this thing gets done getting up to temp, I'll rev it up a couple times, I'll send that information to the tuner, and then they'll give us more information on what they want next on the next log, or they'll give us a revision to fix fuel trims on this one, and we'll do it again, and so forth. So at this point in time, it's now just kind of a waiting game. However, I work with one of the best guys in the business. He literally got me an update on a Saturday, which is awesome. I love it because I work Saturdays and Sundays. So when I find somebody else like Juggernaut, for example, who's tuning this one, John Bowen goes through, and I mean, he literally is working on a Saturday to make sure that me and this customer both are taken care of in a timely manner. Dude's just awesome, and you don't get that support everywhere. So definitely happy to be working with those guys. So if you guys enjoy this video series and you're interested in getting a tune from them, not only are they really good, very dependable, get back to you in a timely manner, they work weekends, they're also cheap compared to anybody else. Like you can look at like Lund Tunes or Palm Beach Dyno or something like that. They're really, really expensive, and we've got 2 Palm Beach Dyno cars we've been trying to tune on for a year, and they're still not right. Now, I'm not saying it 100% that that's their problem, but it's a combination of a whole bunch of stuff, and a big part of it is it takes 3 to 4 days for them to reply to an email, if they even get to me in that timely manner. And then at that point you have to call and say, hey, why aren't we doing this? So to be able to work with somebody like John and Matt that are able to take care of us in a very quick and timely manner, it's unprecedented. You know, it's just awesome to be able to work with these guys. So that's why I use them. Just a quick explanation. Everybody has a different reason on why they pick people that they pick. He might be convenient, he might be close, or whatever. So since I've rambled on for this time period, we are now at 170 degrees, so we're almost to the point that we will be able to get the rev logs. So I'll just go ahead and cut to that, and we'll keep going. Well, as this continues to climb, I'm gonna go ahead and do my revs and stuff so we can at least have that done, and in that time period we can continue to watch it and see if anything changes. It looks like it's gonna sit here and stay around 205, but now it's climbing again, so I could be wrong. So what we're gonna do in this particular case is on our revs, we're gonna take the 3 grand, hold it, then let it return to idle, 4 grand, hold it, and let it return to idle, then 5 grand, hold it, and let it return to idle. So. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10. Now we'll let it return to idle here. The temp jumped up to 207, if this will focus, and it's coming back down. So I think that's where it's going to stay at, which is perfectly fine. It did start to climb a little and then come back down, so that is good. Sounds pretty rowdy. And now that brought our engine coolant temps way back down to 200 and dropping. So that really must have got some coolant circulating. So we're gonna do it one more time. So now that gives the tuner some information to see what it's trying to adjust to see what the computer's wanting to sit on lambda wise, like what it's targeting. So whatever information he needs, it's now there, hopefully. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and stop this log, and we're gonna save it, and we're gonna hit save all, and then in our log files we're gonna put let's see, Gavin VMP G3R. Let's see. Idle with revs. So now that should save. Alright, that file is now saved. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this because I don't need it anymore. We'll shut the car down because we don't need that anymore. Unplug our tuner, put it back in the windshield. Of course the mount popped off. And that's it. We're going to go send this to the tuner. So still waiting on a revision on this thing, but taking it for a ride just to make sure it doesn't have any oil leaks or anything wrong with it. Coolant temps are looking good. They're kind of staying right there in that same area. They're moving up and down just a little bit as you go. The air on the radiator really is making a big difference on temps from, you know, when we let it idle yesterday. As you can see, it's coming up and down, left and right, so it's just kind of moving around. But everything seems to be great. The tune seems to be running really, really well. Car's just cruising. It's got decent power down low. Obviously, I've not got on it any or gone watt. We don't have the boost gauge in yet, which he did bring us. So just as a normal drivability thing, other than this car being insanely loud exhaust-wise, this car drives fantastic. I love this flat bottom steering wheel. It's a little weird when you turn because its swing is kind of funny compared to what I'm used to. You know, I had one of these cars for almost 7 years, so I daily drove it. I was kind of used to it, but the shifter feels fantastic. That radio's nice, that Dynavin, but super nice car. We'll chime back in when we get us an update and can go make some more pulls and get a better impression of this thing. Alright, so now we're back in Gavin's car. It's the next day. Tuner got us another update. He wants a 2,500 to 5,000 RPM pull in one gear, so we're going to give him that real quick. So let's see how this thing does on its first pull. Works really well. Smooth as silk. So that gets the first pull underway, and now we get into some more watt tuning. So hopefully the tuner lets us know something back, and we'll roll right back into a good pull. Maybe we'll take it to 8. I don't know. We'll see where the tuner feels comfortable. So as soon as John gets back with us, we'll make another one. Alright guys, next day obviously, and the tuner got us a update. He said we are ready for a full pull. Well, my immediate response to that is, what is a full pull? So we've got two-step set, or I'm sorry, we have rev limiter set at 7,500. So we're gonna make a full pull in 4th gear from 2,500 to 75. Maybe 3 to 75, but we'll get us a complete pull under power. I did get the boost gauge installed. As you can tell, this car is ridiculously loud, but very fun nonetheless. So let's go out here and get this pull done real quick. felt like 7 grand may have been our limiter on that. I'll have to go back and look at the video and the log, but it definitely seemed to cut out a little earlier than I was expecting. But man, it was whipping. It was flying. So definitely felt good, felt strong, 0 burbles, 0 hiccups. The car felt really, really clean and responsive. The power came in well. Didn't feel any belt slip. Obviously, benefit of that video is going to be able to see the gauge there to see if it jumped or fluctuated. Hopefully you can see it without the glare on it too much. I can actually see it better in person than you can in the video. So hopefully all is well, but let's get it back and review this footage real quick and make sure everything looks good. All right, so obviously we're back here. We're looking at our log. There's a couple of things in here that I care about. And it's not all these. The only ones I'm worried about myself, personally, I'm not a tuner. Please don't take this to heart. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm looking for RPM, my bank 1 and 2 AFR in Lambda. The Lambda's a big part of that. I don't know how to read AFR in non-Lambda, in regular Stoic. I can't read it that way because I'm used to reading everything on E85. The advantage of Lambda is it always reads the same no matter what fuel you're on. Alcohol, methanol, all this stuff, it'll read totally different. When you're on Lambda, it always reads the same. So that's why it's my favorite, and it's the easiest one to work with. We want to stay about 0.78 at watt Lambda, so that's what we're aiming for. The next thing I'm going to look at is my load and my NOx sensors, and that's pretty much it for me, and my spark advance. I like to see where my spark is at. So as you can see here, I'm over here at our pool. It is a 2600 to 7000 RPM. As you can see, there's a little burble right there at 7,000. That is definitely where we hit the limiter. And you can see here as well, we went to 7,075. That's all it was. So he must have the limiter a little lower than he told me, because it obviously hit it around 7,000. It was just pulling so fast. I think that's why it actually crept past it. It didn't creep past it because it was set higher. That's just how much momentum we had pulling into it. So the car definitely booked. And I'm also curious to see the mile per hour. I don't think I did 931 mile an hour on that pull, but we won't rule that out because we were definitely flying. So looking at it here, let me get my mouse over here. So right here we are at 2,800 RPM and we are at watt. As you can see, it starts to climb. Our AFRs are looking really good, but our NOx sensors are pulling 3 degrees of timing. We're at 16, which means we probably should be at 19 degrees. Why it's pulling 3 degrees, I don't know. It could be false knock. The tuner will know a lot more information about that. Basically, in a nutshell, if you haven't picked it up yet, the tuner always. Any questions? The tuner. Always go to the tuner. Never question your tuner unless you have a questionable tuner. If he's had a bad reputation in the past, maybe question him. But we deal with the best of the best. We do not have any questions. He will associate this stuff correctly and how it needs to be done. That's why we picked this guy. So, looking at the stuff we've got here, looks like we're at 87, 90, 100, 105, 108, 10, 12. Looks like about 112 mile an hour is about where the top of 4th gear is on, I think we're on a 27-inch tall tire. So that's just the top, because 4th gear is not even 1-to-1, 5th gear is. So we're still at less than 1-to-1 gear ratio. And everything looks really good. We pulled 7,000 RPM roughly. We'll say 7,000. AFRs were 0.78, 0.79 throughout the whole pool. MAF frequency is reading pretty good. I like looking at MAF pound per minute because it kind of gives you an idea of horsepower, but it's a rough estimate. So definitely, once again, don't look at MAF pound per minute and say, oh, it makes this much horsepower. You're just guessing, but it gives you a rough idea. So then your NOx sensors, we pulled 3 degrees throughout this entire pool. As you can see here, it never changes from the minute that I went watt, which is, I believe, indicated by this orange line. The minute that I went watt, we picked up 3 degrees of knock, and it held 3 degrees. Well, I take that back. The knock came in 0.5, 0.1, 150, 2, 250, 3, and then it held 3 the entire time. So I kind of think that it's false knock. I don't think it's actually anything to be concerned about. The car felt good. Like I said, it stayed 16 and a half degrees of timing this entire pool. So as you can see there, it stayed really, really clean. It never really had any major deviations. Yeah, I don't really know what else to tell you on that. I'm just kind of digging for any other information that I can. There's nothing left. I'm not real smooth at holding the camera, so hopefully you took what you needed to from that. But the car looks great. I don't see anything wrong with it. The only thing I'm worried about is the timing that it is pulling from the knock sensors. I'm not positive that it's actually pulling it because it's necessary. However, we are on 93 octane pump gas fuel. That may be the limits of what that fuel will allow us, and it may be pulling timing due to that. I don't know. Again, tuner will know more. Always source back to your tuner. We go with the best of the best. That way we don't have to question them any whatsoever. I ask him a question. He gives me an answer. We're done deal. Whatever he tells me, done deal. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and get this log sent to him, and I will let you guys know what he says in the updated email. So I finally get all the answers back from the tuner, and everything looks great. So clarification on the knock on this thing. With SCT, whenever you're looking at knock, if it's showing a negative, it's actually meaning it's picking up negative knock instead of positive knock. Positive knock means it's bad. Negative knock means that the sensor thinks everything is perfect, and it's actually adding timing. So the -3 that you see there would be adding, I guess, roughly 3 degrees of timing or whatever the equivalent of that is. So it was actually showing that it was picking up the reverse of knock, which is good. So he sends me that. I get another log. I got it for him yesterday, to be honest, and I was not able to video it because it was raining and the roads were wet in spots and dry in spots, so I had to make a pull where I could get it, and I did not feel comfortable trying to get that. So we did make a 7,600 RPM pull, sent it to the tuner. Everything looked great. The car is ready for pickup now. So my overall opinion on this this VMP G3R, it's on a 3.5 pulley. If the car is making 22 horsepower per PSI, we're at about 600 wheel. The car feels like it's probably close to 600 or at 600 wheel just with the butt dyno. So very impressive kit. For a Gen 1 car, it's probably about as far as you're going to really want to push it. Gen 2, Gen 3 cars, Gen 4 now. Well, I don't know about Gen 4s, but I'm sure they're going to be just as capable as the Gen 3s. So overall, very capable kit, capable of pretty good power, very good power band, torque's good. The only gripe I have with this kit currently as it sits is I fully expected this thing to make a whole bunch of blower whine. And that would have been awesome because that's kind of why you buy a blower whine. The Gen 5 3-liter Whipples, both cars I did, not an ounce of noise, like nothing. They don't even make a squeak, a belt chirp, nothing. They're just dead silent. And they work. They work really, really well. It's a very efficient blower, which granted, the whine that you get is inefficiency. So the fact that it's quiet means it's very efficient. It's working very well. About 75, 7,600, we did start to develop a small blower whine on this VMP, but I mean, it was so fast I didn't really get a chance to even notice it. But having said that, that just means the harder you spin the car once they finally get a built motor and turn it up and stuff like that, and you know, it will start making some blower whine. I know GT500s, like the 5.4 iron block cars that have these blowers on them, they whine real loud. So definitely think the customer's gonna be happy with it. This one here has turned out to be a smooth car, dude. It drives great. It drives fantastic. If it wasn't so darn loud, that car would be an awesome daily driver. The blower setup would work great for daily driving because you can't hear it. From the outside, you can't even see the heat exchanger. It just looks like the AC condenser. So my overall impression of it, fantastic kit. The instructions, as I have mentioned, I'm not a big fan of the fact that it's YouTube video only. I do like PDFs, I like paper copies, I like stuff like that. I like to be able to use that in the event that, you know, the power goes out or something. Granted, I probably won't be working if the power goes out, so maybe it's a moot point, you decide. But overall, extremely happy with it. The instructions covered everything that it needed to in the video. Yeah, I don't really have much more than that on that. It's just you just follow the instructions per the YouTube video and they go over everything. Now the only thing they didn't go over is at one point in here I had to plug up the intercooler pump with the dual fan heat exchanger wiring harness. Nowhere in the video, since they do the video for a Gen 1 car on a Gen 2 car, so it's slightly different, comes with a different pump and stuff, that comes with an adapter to fit between the harness and this pump. I didn't realize that, and I had to email them and say, hey, what's going on with this harness? It turns out there was an adapter I didn't see. Well, I did see it. I didn't put two and two together that that's what it was for. So we're waiting on him to come and pick it up. He'll be here in just a little while, and I'd like to get his impression on it, but I believe that'll have to be a job for another day. So hope you guys liked the video. Overall impression, I love it. Boost is awesome. Don't do it. It'll cost you an arm and a leg, but it's the most fun you'll ever have. Like always, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you guys want to see next. Don't forget, if you're interested in buying a ProCharger and us installing it, the first 2 ProCharger kits we sell come with a free installation. So that'll save you thousands. Make sure you guys come back, check us out. Hopefully we'll see you guys at the track. I'm actually leaving right now for Streetcar Takeover Bristol. Let's go have some fun. Like always, make better choices, and we will see you guys next time. And don't forget, always trust your tuner. That's why we picked a guy that we can trust. I'm now a dealer with jptunes.com, Juggernaut Power Tuning. John Bowen is the one tuning this particular car. Him and Matt are amazing. These guys are extremely knowledgeable, extremely fast and diligent. John pretty much got this car right on the very first tune he sent me. The only update we needed was for the rev limiter, and that was pretty much it. So the fact that he could go from no tune to finished in 5 days, technically 4, because today I was just waiting on an update on whether or not it was good to go for the customer. I wasn't actually waiting on a revision, so it was already good. I just didn't know that until he responded. 4 days. I've waited longer than that just to get a response from my idle log that I sent. So the fact that we could go from start to finish and done and it out of here in 5 days is unprecedented. I can't even fathom that we were able to get it done this quickly. So once again, thanks John and Matt, both of you guys, for everything that you do. We really appreciate you guys. If you guys need any tuning done, you can contact me. I'm a dealer for them, or you can contact them directly at jptunes.com. These guys will absolutely take care of you to the highest degree, and they don't just tune Coyotes. They're also going to tune the 2-valve. I think they also tune 3 valves. They may tune some other stuff. You have to check out their website. But all I do mainly is Coyotes and this 1 2-valve for reasons that are still unknown to me, other than the fact it's cheap, and I want to see what we can do with old technology before we slap something else in it. Who knows what it's going to get in there. So we got to get this turd back together. Thank you guys. We appreciate you, and we will see y'all next time.